more pressure on Sunday. There's a man by the name of Jalen Hurts who was an All-Pro last year. There's a man by the name of Dak.
Dak. You ain't got to finish.
It ain't nothing. Say Dak.
Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games.
You're right.
Lately, Dak Prescott has not made big-time plays in big-time games, and he's making big-time money.
Yeah.
Now is the time for Dak Prescott to make big-time plays in big-time games. Sunday. This is the one for Dak Prescott, a winning team in the division. You win. You put yourself in first place in this division. You put yourself in position to have home field throughout the playoffs as the Dallas Cowboys, which means the Eagles, the Niners, Tampa Bay, whoever's good, Seattle, whoever's supposed to be good has to come through Dallas. That is what you want. But last time it was a big-time game, Dak Prescott did not show up. And that is the San Francisco 49ers. Before that, it was a big-time game in the playoffs against the San Francisco 49ers. Dak Prescott did not show up. It's time now, right? The Rams is gone. The Eagles is here.
The Eagles is here.
It's time to deliver. All the pressure
Eagles is here.
is on Dak Prescott. Micah, you want us to praise him? You want us to give him more credit? Win this one. We'll talk about you good, Dak.
Ooh. Hoodie James bringing the heat.
Hoodie James. They call him Hoodie James for a reason. They call him Hoodie James for a reason.
It's Friday. I like it. Let's get started. Yeah, I mean, I think there's more pressure on Dak, too. But I think there's more pressure on Dak because I think there's more pressure on the Cowboys as a whole in this game.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, Dak could show up in a big way and win the game and silence a lot of critics, if you will. Or the Cowboys could just go out and win this game and he doesn't even play that well. That's really, at this point in the season, it really doesn't matter. Jalen hasn't played the best football all season long, but they win games. That's why they're in a better position right now than the Cowboys are. There's more pressure on the Cowboys in this game, in this situation, than there is on the Eagles, and that is why it's going to Dak, because he is the face of the organization. He plays the most important position, and we're going to talk about Dak if he has a bad game or if, like you mentioned, he doesn't come up big in a big moment. We all are kind of we're hoping for a great game, but I think a lot of us anticipate that this will be a good game as well, except for Shady, who's kind of predicting a little bit of a blowout. Not yet, not sure. We were talking about it yesterday. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to come down to the stars, and it's going to come down to the wire. Will Dak be able to step up and do it? He hasn't in the postseason. We'll see what happens on Sunday. Shady?
More pressure, 2-5. You know what?
You got your Cowboys blue on.
What? Listen, you know what? Nah, you took everything I wanted to say because the more pressure is on Dak Prescott for sure. We need to see the Dak Prescott of a big game, right?
Yeah.
The same Dak Prescott you gave us a performance against the playoffs against the Bucs. Right? The same performance you gave us against, who's the last team that has played? The Rams, right? I mean, even though they're 3-5 and the Bucs at the time was like 8-9, I get it. I want to see that same type of performance against the Eagles. So he asked me, where's the more pressure at? It's got to be Dak. I get it. He wants the credit. I get it. I understand. He wants the love, right? He wants to be talked about like a franchise quarterback. Well, go earn it. This is your time. You got a divisional game, right? You've been excellent in this division, right? Now, granted, to the division not really been that good for the last couple of years, right? They're finally getting back better, but show out. If you show out in this big game, we got to talk about you. I was texting DeAndre Swift today, right? We're going back and forth about this, highlights, tapes. I was trying to critique his game a little bit. He's asking me for different things he's seen, good and bad. And I said, you know what? This type of game right here is when your name gets brought up. This is when the stars is made. Yeah, we know DeAndre Swift is a good running back. When he go out there against this Dallas Cowboy defense and ball out, prime time, division game, 2 top teams, that's when you get that credit. That's when you get the people talking about you. So Dak Prescott, that's the pressure's on you. If you want to get that love like everybody else, go out there and ball out. Because if not, I'm banged up right now. You know my hip situation.
I know what it is.
The doctors, but listen.
I know what it is.
If I come back here Monday and he don't play good, oh my God. I'm gonna be going streaming everywhere. Viral moments.
You have heard it. Shady has given you his word. Let me throw a wrench in this.
Small or big wrench?
It's going to be a big wrench, big dog. I apologize in advance. I think there's more pressure on Jalen Hurts. And it's not necessarily a hot take. I don't think anything that I'm about to say you all will disagree with outside of me thinking there's more pressure on Jalen Hurts. Dak Prescott is a made man. Dak Prescott is ceramics. Jalen Hurts is clay. What do I mean by that? James Jones, growing up in middle school, I took a pottery class. And if any of y'all know about a pottery class, before you put that clay into the kiln, before you fire it, you can still mold it.
Okay.
You can still mold it. Our impression of Jalen Hurts is still being molded right now. Last year, All-Pro, hard to do. This year, he's second in the National Football League in turnovers. Our impression of Dak Prescott is not molded. If Dak has no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, we're going to say, duh, that's Dak. If Dak Prescott has 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, we're going to say, congrats, he did it once. He still ain't been to a Super Bowl. He still ain't been to an NFC Championship game. They're still not the 1 seed in the NFC East, nor are they the 1 seed in the NFC. Dak Prescott is who Dak Prescott is. We have a 8-year sample size of Dak Prescott. However you feel about Dak Prescott today is how you will feel about Dak Prescott on Monday. You might be a little bit more emotionally volatile, but your feeling will still be the same. However, Jalen Hurts, our opinions aren't set in stone. Now, maybe our opinions on the desk are set in stone, but last year, All-Pro, incredibly hard to do. This year, I believe he already has more interceptions through 8 games than he did all of last season. So the reason I think there is more pressure on Jalen Hurts is because Dak Prescott is already a made man, for better or for worse. We all think he is above average. But Jalen Hurts, some think he's elite. Some think he's the best of the best.
You know,
some think he could get better. Some think, I need to see more. That's why I think pressure hurts.
You know what? And that's a phenomenal take.
My dog.
Right? As you said, I'm thinking about it. And you're right. But the difference is why we think like that about Dak Prescott and why we think like that about Jalen Hurts is because we don't know where Jalen Hurts' ceiling is at.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
He went to the Super Bowl so fast, so quick. Went from not being really good as a quarterback to really, really, really good as a quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's still getting better.
Yep.
There's more room for him to get better. With the other guy in Dallas, I don't think he can get better. I think this is who he is. I think above average quarterback is his max.
Yeah. So then let me ask you personally, then why is there pressure? If I know that I can't change your opinion of me, obviously I deal with that a lot. People feel about Emmanuel Acho, how they gonna feel about Emmanuel Acho? So I'm just gonna be who I am, because you probably don't like me anyway. And I'm good with that. There's no pressure for me when I meet you, because I know I can't change your opinion. So if you're telling me, and I agree with it, Dak is Dak, what pressure does he have to LeSean McCoy, the Eagles' all-time rushing leader?
Because there's a group of people, right, they feel bad for Dak. And they think that Dak, the things you talked about yesterday, how he should get more credit. So there's people like you that think he needs more credit. This is the time to show it. This is why the pressure's on you. Because when a guy like me, and a guy like James now, and a lady like Joy, feels a certain way about Dak, but you feel different. Well, for people like you, because a lot of them out there like you.
Yes, sir.
Dak needs to show that. You know what? I can ball out against the Eagles, the top team in the NFL, 7-1 team. The same way I ball out against the Rams. I can do the same thing against the Eagles, and that's the pressure. Because are you just a good quarterback against bum teams? I can't call them bum teams. Are you a good quarterback against not as good teams? Are you really good against everybody? That's the question we got to answer.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I also think the pressure is whether we think his ceiling is as high as some other quarterbacks or not. That's really irrelevant, because you can have teams that have quarterbacks that ceilings are lower than Dak Prescott that have gone further in the playoffs. Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, he's a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a franchise quarterback. Jimmy is not. Jimmy went to a Super Bowl. He went to a Super Bowl because he has a great coach, which the Dallas Cowboys have, and an amazing roster, which the Dallas Cowboys have. So just because your ceiling might not be as high as the person that's lining up on the other side of the ball, that doesn't mean that your responsibility for what you've been given isn't the same or even more, depending on what your roster and situation is. So there's still pressure on Dak Prescott.
Absolutely. And the main reason why is Dak Prescott better than Joe Flacco, you think?
I would say, yeah.
I would say no.
I don't know. I mean,
Okay, it's close, though.
But yeah, of course.
I mean, Flacco wasn't like that.
No.
That's
But
what I'm
11
saying.
touchdowns, no interceptions en route to a Super Bowl. I pay homage to Flacco for that. 11 touchdowns, no interceptions.
And that is all I'm saying. For me, it's bigger than this game for Dak. That's why it's pressure on you. You have not beaten the good teams. You have not played well against the good teams. You have not played well when it counts. So what is the future for Dak Prescott? You cannot keep coming and losing to good teams in the playoffs, losing to good teams in the regular season, and continue to think like, Jerry's my guy. Jerry's going to keep me around here. At one point, the Dallas Cowboys is going to say, Dak is a really good quarterback, but he doesn't show up in the big-time games. And that is why this one, because you came off a really, really bad one, big-time game against the Niners. You can't go out here and play bad again in another big-time game, Dak, when this roster is built to take to go to the Super Bowl or be able to be in the NFC Championship, but they're not going to get there if you don't play well in the big-time games. That's why I believe the pressure is all on Dak in this game, because it's bigger than that. It's about Dak's future, too. You got to beat these good football
Great
teams.
job, James.
James, you said big-time players make big-time plays in what?
Big-time games.
In big-time games. So then Joy Taylor,
And make big-time change. Don't forget that one, Acho.
And by big time rain.
The money matter, baby.
Sorry.
The money matter, too, now.
That's what I deal with.
You're going to have a long day, Emmanuel. I hope you got your sleep. You got some coffee.
Holy. Okay, I was about to make a big-time transition, so it was big-time derailed. So let me get back on the question. Joy, who is going to be the difference maker in the game? Who's the one person that the viewer at home, currently on their couch, watching the show at their phone, in their cubicle, wherever you all are watching, who is the player that they need to pay attention to that's going to be the difference maker in the game?
Well, it's probably pretty obvious, but I think A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's having a tremendous year. In the month, he has 40 receptions, 5 touchdowns, and an NFL best 700 receiving yards.
Yep.
That's going to be someone that the Cowboys are game planning for. So if he is able to go above and beyond what they are certainly going to be paying attention to in where he is on the field, for him to have a big game, he's going to be a big-time player in a big-time game in a big-time moment. So obviously, it's not really a secret that he's been an X-Factor, but if he can do that against this defense, and they win the game because of him, and I believe that if they are going to win this game, he's going to have to play a major role.
To me, Shady, Joy, James, there is one person who I am watching the entirety of the game.
Who was this?
One person, Deron Bland. Ooh. That's it. Number 2-6, Cowboys corner. The Cowboys acquired Stephon Gilmore for this game only. That's it.
Okay.
The reason they acquired Stephon Gilmore, 2019 Defensive Player of the Year, was for this game. The Cowboys needed 2 corners, Trayvon Diggs, Stephon Gilmore, to line up against maybe the best receiver tandem in football, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Yeah. Problem, America. Problem. Huge problem. Trayvon Diggs got hurt. Yeah. He got hurt. So now the Cowboys are in a bind. Well, Deron Bland has 9 interceptions since the start of 2022, most in the league. 3 pick-sixes since the start of 2022, most in the league. So he is the X factor for me. Can he limit Devontae Smith? Because Stephon Gilmore, what do they call him? They lock down Gilly.
He traveling? You think he traveling?
I don't know that he will.
I mean, he might.
He might.
He's nice.
He might.
Nice.
They call him lockdown for a reason. So if Gilmore can limit A.J. Brown, and Gilmore is a dog, that means Deron Bland, you got your hands full with former Heisman winner Devontae Smith. If Bland does his thing,
you know what I'm betting on.
Cowboys might be able to make it shake.
I might bet. Anyway, who's my X factor?
X factor, Shady.
My X factor?
I'm listening.
DeAndre Swift, baby.
Ooh.
DeAndre Swift. Let me tell you why, though.
Why?
When you look at this Cowboys defense, the first thing that's going to jump out is
Micah Parsons.
how do you slow down Michael Parsons? Let's go to the Niners. See, I was doing a lot of research on this,
I'm glad
right? When the topic came, and I was like,
glad you were.
What teams can I compare the Eagles to? Can't compare them to the Giants. They don't win games.
Can't do it. Won't do it.
You can't compare them to the Jets. They don't really win, right? So I went to another great team. That's at the time was the Niners. So when I look at this game, you know they had 170 yards rushing. So you want to neutralize a guy like Michael Parsons gets to the quarterback. You want to neutralize a defense like that gets to the quarterback. How do you do it? You run the ball. That's what we do. We have a really good offensive line, and we have a really, really good running back. If Christian McCaffrey, who I think is probably the best back in football, of course, DeAndre Swift is right underneath him. He's right there. So if I had to put my money on some of the X Factor, it's going to be DeAndre Swift. Not only because I gave him some text messages like how to do it.
No question.
He a bad boy.
No question.
And we're going to depend on him to win this game.
Usually when you take the football field, you got a little pride about being the best on the field at your position.
Okay, who's that? Who we talking about? Who we talking about? I'm listening.
A.J. Brown is balling right now. My X factor is C.D. Lamb. Ooh. You have a dude over there in A.J. Brown who is going to work. Bona fide #1 receiver.
Bonafide.
In the conversation for MVP. Shady, right?
MVP
this is your chance to say, hold up.
Wait.
I'm that dude too. I'm that #1 wide receiver that can't be stopped neither. When C.D. Lamb has 75 yards and a touchdown, this team is very, very good. They're 8-3. You are going to have to score points, and it ain't going to be scoring running the football. Dak Prescott is going to have to throw this ball over the yard. C.D. is time. When we walk off this field, let them know that C.D. Lamb is the #1 wide receiver tonight, today, whenever this game is. A.J. Brown, cool, But CeeDee Lamb is the number 1 receiver tonight. CeeDee gonna have to show up if the Dallas Cowboys is gonna have a chance to win this game. Whether it's short passes, long passes, he's gonna have to be CeeDee Lamb. He's gonna have to be a true number 1. Whether it's inside,
you think he's the number 1?
Outside, I'm gonna find out this Sunday.
Oh, so you don't know if he's the number 1?
I don't know yet.
I think he's the number 1.
Elaborate on that. Well, hold on. Because, James, you said something, and I actually agree with you from a defensive perspective. You said that CeeDee Lamb hasn't proven he's a true number 1. You played 9 years in the National Football League at wide receiver. 2012, you led the NFL in receiving touchdowns. Why do you think that CeeDee Lamb, in your opinion, is not like a true number 1? There is a difference, America, true and not.
Yeah, and for me, it could be how the Dallas Cowboys use him is why I'm judging him like this. But when you're a true number 1 wide receiver, you can go anywhere on the field, and you can win, and you can dominate the football game. CeeDee Lamb has not showed us he can dominate a football game on the outsides. What I mean by that is A.J. Brown is on the outside 97% of the time with the cornerback inside leverage. And he's still winning on slants. He's still winning on in routes. He's still making the tough catches. We have not seen that from CeeDee Lamb. When you play in the slot, you have a 4-way go every single time. Not on the number 1 corner, on the number 2s, the number 3 corners, because a lot of times defenses are not traveling their corner inside the slot. So they are helping CeeDee by where they are putting him, but I haven't seen him be pure dominant on the outside. That's why I don't say number 1 wide receiver. Numbers are there. You can't argue CeeDee's numbers. Numbers are there. But if you ask me why not, and I'm comparing them to the Devontae Adams, the A.J. Browns, the Tyreek Hills, these other number 1 wide receivers, Justin Jeffersons, that's why. They do their work everywhere on the football field. But CeeDee Lamb is a really good player, and it's time.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.